good? Hold on for a minute. Start with 34. Shalom, shalom, Israel. Most High Christ bless. Some also ye here.
Shalom, Israel. Also not Sean.
Today we're going to start with Exodus 34 through 37. Let's get a disclaimer. There you go.
Israel united in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to possible threats, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Right now we're going to start with Exodus chapter 34.
Exodus chapter 34 and verse 1. And the Lord said unto Moses, Hew thee 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon these tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present thyself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount. Neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount.
So the Most High didn't want man nor beast near the mount which Moses Mount Sinai. So when he said hew thee 2 tables of stone, meaning carve out or chisel 2 tables of stone, because on the tablet they were written in stone. Read on.
Verse 4. And he hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up unto Mount Sinai, as the Lord had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tables of stone.
Read on.
Verse 5. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord.
So let's find out this cloud that the Lord descended with. Let's go to Psalms chapter 104, chapter 3. Was it a literal cloud that the Lord descended down with, or was it something else? Read that. Psalm chapter 104, verse 3.
Psalms chapter 104 and verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters? Who maketh the clouds?
Who maketh the what?
The clouds his chariot.
His chariot, his vehicle, way of traveling. Read on.
Who walketh upon the wings of the wind.
So let's go back to Exodus chapter 34. So this is going to the vehicles that the Most High and Christ and the angels would travel in. Read on.
Exodus chapter 34 and verse 6. And the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and truth.
Go back to read verse 5 again.
Verse 5. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord.
Now jump over to Exodus 33 and 19. Let's show that when he proclaimed the name of the Lord. Read on. 19, we're going to read on down.
Exodus chapter 33 and verse 19. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious,
Read on.
and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy.
Read.
And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me alive.
So this is talking about the Most High God. So nobody can see the Most High God and live.
And live.
Read on.
Verse 21. And the Lord said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock.
So the Most High told Moses, you can't see my face, but I can do this for you. He said, there's a place by me, stand upon a rock. Read on.
Verse 22. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by.
Read on.
And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen.
So the Lord will allow Moses to see his backside. Okay, read on. Now go back to where we was at. What was that?
Exodus chapter 34 and verse 6.
All right.
And the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abundant in goodness and truth,
Read on.
keeping mercy for thousands, giving iniquity and transgression, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin.
So stop right there. And this is talking about Israel. First of all, Moses only speaking to the children of Israel at this time. And Israel is the only one that can sin. So according to Psalms 147, 19 and 20, they were only the ones given the law. When you read the book of John, 1 John 3 and 4, it says that sin is the transgression of the law, or the breaking the law. So we knowing that this is not talking about everybody. So he says, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sins, and that would by no read it from the top again, officer.
Verse 7, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin.
And sin only to Israel. Read on.
And that will by no means clear the guilty.
Meaning he gonna forgive you, but that means you will still be judged. Read on.
Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, unto the third and to the fourth generation.
So he would by no means clear the guilty. So he's still going to visit that iniquity. Read on.
Verse 8, and Moses made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshipped.
Read on.
And he said, if now I have found grace in thy sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for thy inheritance.
So he said, be with us, be in the midst of us, Lord, because we are rebellious people. Okay, pardon our iniquities, meaning forgive our iniquities. Read on.
Verse 10, and he said, behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee.
Let's show up to date one of the marvels that the Most High is doing with his people. Let's go to Revelation 11 and 8. So we're going to show one of the marvels that the Most High is doing with his people. The book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 8.
Revelations, chapter 11, and verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
So this dead state, this decayed state people, this spiritually dead people, read on.
Verse 9. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies.
So all the nations were able to see us in a spiritually dead state. Read on.
3 days and a half.
350 years.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves.
Because they're spiritually dead. It's talking about a physical death. Read on.
Verse 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts one to another.
Because we were their captives. We were slaves at this time. Read on.
Because these two prophets,
the northern and southern kingdom. Read on.
Tormented them that dwell on the earth.
Read on.
Verse 11. And after 3 days and a half.
So here's that marvel. Here's that marvel that the Most High was talking about. Read on.
The spirit of life from God enter into them.
Then these people that were spiritually dead in captivity, that wouldn't look their slave masters in their face. Read on.
And they stood upon their feet.
Now the Most High allowed them to stand upon their feet. Read on.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
And these same slave masters are having great fear. Let's go back. The book of Exodus, what was he at? 34 and what?
Verse 10. Exodus chapter 34 and verse 10. And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all thy people. I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation. And all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. Verse 11. Observe thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites.
So he says, obey thou that which I command thee this day. Behold, I will drive out before thee all these nations. Read on.
Verse 12. Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, whither thou goest, lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee.
He said, be careful now to thyself, lest meaning before you make a covenant with these inhabitants, these other nations, and there be a snare or a trap in the midst of thee. Read on.
Verse 13. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves.
Just like in Deuteronomy 7:5. Read on.
For thou shalt worship no other God. For the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God.
Read on.
Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land.
Before you make a covenant with the people of the land. Read on.
And they go a-whoring after their gods.
And you start serving their gods.
And do sacrifice unto their gods. And one call thee.
And these nations call or invite you. Read on.
And thou eat of his sacrifice.
And when you partake in serving their gods. Read on.
Verse 16. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods.
And that's what they did in the chapter before here. They made a molten god. And so they had to reiterate it, that shall not be done. Read on.
Verse 18. The feast of unleavened bread shall thou keep. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee in the time of the month Abib.
So this is going to the Passover. Read on.
For in the month Abib thou camest out from Egypt. All that openeth the matrix is mine.
All that come from the womb is mine. Read on.
And every firstling among thy cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male.
Read on.
Verse 20. But the firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb. And if thou redeem him not, then shalt thou break his neck. All the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem. And none shall appear before me empty.
So this is going to, this is symbolic of where the Most High bringing us out of Egypt. He killing the firstborn of the Egyptians and keeping our people alive. Read on.
Verse 21. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest. In earning time,
in earing time,
and in harvest.
So this is going to harvesting time.
Thou shalt rest. Verse 22.
So it says 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest. Hold on, I'm sorry. 6 days thou shalt work, but on the seventh day thou shalt rest in earing time and in harvest time. Meaning, even though it was time of harvest and gathering, you still will rest on that seventh day. Read on.
Verse 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest.
So it's going to the Pentecost. Read on.
And the feast of ingathering.
Let's go on to the Feast of Tabernacle. Read on.
At the year's end. Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before the Lord God, the God of Israel.
Jump over to Deuteronomy 16:16. Let's bring that law out. Because Deuteronomy is the laws written again. Read that, 16:16.
Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 16. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread,
Feast of unleavened bread, Passover,
and in the feast of weeks,
the Feast of Pentecost,
and in the feast of tabernacles.
Read on.
And they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
So you had to bring that sacrifice. Read on. Go. Let's go back to Exodus 34.
Exodus chapter 34, verse, where we leave off?
24.
Verse 24. For I will cast out the nations before thee.
In the land of Canaan. Read on.
And enlarge thy borders. Neither shall any man desire thy land, when thou shalt go up to appear before the Lord thy God thrice in the year.
So when all men would actually leave out and go to Jerusalem for to keep those 3 high holy days, the Most High said that neither shall any man desire thy land when thou shalt go up to appear before the Lord thy God thrice in a year. Meaning that's the fear that they would have on us. Read on.
Verse 25. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven.
Read on.
Neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left unto the morning.
Meaning it had to be eaten up or burnt. Read on.
Verse 26. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seeth a kid in his mother's milk.
Mm-hmm. Meaning you shouldn't, like veal, for instance. Veal is still in his mother's milk. It's not ready to be eaten. Read on. It's unlawful. Read on.
Verse 27. And the Lord said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel.
After these words, read that from the top again.
And the Lord said unto Moses, write thou these words, for after the tenor of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel.
So after he has given the laws of the laws of these words, so the words were the laws. Read on. He said, I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel. Read on.
Verse 28. And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights.
Uh-huh.
He did neither eat bread nor drink water.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant.
So that's the words of the covenant. Read on.
The 10 commandments.
So the words of the covenant was going into the law of sacrifice. So it was the things that you did, the directions of the sacrifice, and which animals you sacrifice, how you were supposed to do it. Okay, those are the words of the covenant. Read on.
Verse 29. And it came to pass.
Read that part again. And he wrote.
And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant.
So that's going into all the laws of the animal sacrifice. Read on. And
the 10 commandments.
And also the commandments. Read on.
Verse 29.
So the commandments. So you had to have the words of the covenant if you broke those commandments. Read on.
And it came to pass, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tables of testimony in Moses' hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moses was not, that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him.
So he did. Moses didn't know that he was shining. His face was shown that he was shining. Read on.
And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him.
So let's go to Ecclesiastes 8:1 to find out why his face was shining or shone. Ecclesiastes 8:1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 1.
Read.
Who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed.
So when Moses, now go to 2 Ezra 14:3. So a man's wisdom make his face to shine. Let's find out how much wisdom he was getting from the Most High, and why his face was shining. Because when you read 2 Ezra 14:3, you will see how much knowledge he was getting that it would make his face shine. Read that. Start with 3.
2 Ezra chapter 14 and verse 3.
So this wasn't just no ordinary wisdom that he was getting. He was getting the utmost wisdom. Read that.
Then said he unto me, in the bush, I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt.
Read.
And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up to the mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season.
Here's the point.
And told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end.
So he saw the beginning, the middle, and the end. That's why his face was shown, because the Most High gave him a wisdom of the beginning, the creation, the middle of the time, and up to date, us in these times. It's more than that.
And commanded him, saying, these words shall thou declare, and these shall thou hide.
So it was even some wisdom that the Most High gave him that he wasn't even supposed to publish, that we don't even have right now. All right, let's go back to Exodus. So that's why his face was shining. Exodus, 34 and what? I got you. I think it was at 24. 20. I think it was further down. 29. Yeah, 30.
Exodus chapter 34 and verse 30. And when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come nigh him. And Moses called unto them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto him. And Moses talked with them. And afterward, all the children of Israel came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that the Lord has spoken with him in Mount Sinai.
Read.
Until Moses had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face.
So he covered his face. Read on.
But when Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he took the veil off.
So he showed respect to the Most High. Read on.
Until he came out. And he came out and spake unto the children of Israel that which he was commanded. And the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone. And Moses put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him.
Read on.
Chapter 35, verse 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together, and said unto them, there are the words which the Lord hath commanded, that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
Read.
Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Okay, let's get an understanding on kindling the fire. Let's go to Exodus 16 and 23. You shall kindle no fire on that day. So Exodus 16 and 23 is the precept that's going to give you understanding of what it means to kindle fire. Read on.
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 23. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and see if that ye will see it.
And see what that ye will see. Read on.
And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept unto the morning.
I mean, so you couldn't cook on the Sabbath. So that lets us know that to kindle a fire is going to cooking. So you had to have a prep day. The day before you prepare, and then what you prepared the day before you would eat that. Okay, was that on that? Yeah, that was it.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go back to Exodus.
Exodus chapter 35 and verse 3.
Read.
Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. And Moses spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord commanded, saying, take ye from among you an offering unto the Lord. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, an offering of the Lord, gold and silver and brass.
So he was. We had the children of Israel were bringing gold, silver, and brass. So he put out the order, and let's see what happened. Did they not? Did they hold it back?
Verse 6. And blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and ram skin dyed red and badger skins and shittim's wood and oil for the light and spices for anointing oil and for the sweet incense and onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod.
So these are all offerings that people were bringing unto the Lord. Read on.
And for the breastplate. And every wise-hearted among you shall come and make all that the Lord hath commanded.
So those had skill. Every wise-hearted people that was crafted. Read on.
Verse 11. The tabernacle, his tent, and his covering, his taches, and his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, the ark and the staves thereof, with the mercy seat.
So let's go into the tabernacle in verse 11, and the things that they used to make the tabernacle. And then in verse 12 is going to the ark of the covenant. Read on.
And the veil of the covering. Verse 13, the table in his staves.
That's where the showbread. Read on.
The table in his staves and all his vessels.
And the staves is going into what they used to carry it with. Read on.
And the showbread. Verse 14, the candlestick also for the light, and his furniture, and his lamps, which the oil for the light, with the oil for the light.
So that's going into the manure. Read on.
Verse 15, and the incense altar, and his staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the door at the entering in of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offerings with his.
So we had an altar where the burnt offering was burnt. Read on.
The altar of burnt offering with his brassen grate, his staves and all his vessels, the lever in his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars and their sockets, and the hanging for the door of the court, the pins of the tabernacle and the pins of the court, and their cords, the clothes of service, to do service in the holy place.
So this is going to the clothing that the priest will wear. Read on.
The holy garments for Aaron, the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office.
All right, hold that. Do we got that illustration so we can get a visual of what it would somehow maybe have looked like? Do we got that? It was a few of them. Yeah, that's what we want. Blow that up. Yeah. Let's see. It's 147. Can you zoom in any more? Okay. Now go down to okay. Right there at the top. Go down. Keep going. So you see the lampstand, the Ark of the Covenant where that was placed. Let me see. It should be another one. You got a table with the bread of presence. It should be another one. Yeah. Can you flip that around? You can't flip it? Okay. Go back to the first one then. Okay, so you got we got the Ark of the Covenant. So this is the tabernacle. Read verse 11 again, also.
Exodus chapter 35 and verse 11. The tabernacle, his tent and his covering, his taches and his boards.
So that's where all the stuff on the outside. So you got the wall, the crossbars. Let me see. Probably it'd be best if I got the other one.
You got the tent covering.
The tent
see
covering.
the covering right there.
Go down. Go up. I meant. Okay, right there. So you got the ram skin, the goat hairs, what they use to make the tent covering. So just give you a little illustration of how it could have possibly looked. Then you look up top right here. You got the actual tent. You should be able to spin that though on the other one. Go back to that. It's a way that you can spin that. Go up top on the right. Go to edit. You can't? Okay. just go back out. Okay, go back to the other illustration where they got the different. Oh, the other one, right there. It should be two of those. So we got the lamp, the golden lampstand, the table of the showbread. Go to the next one. No, that's the altar where they would go back for a minute. The top one on the left is the altar. It's probably similar to what the altar where they did the sacrificing on. Go down. Go to the next page. Okay, the altar of incense, the veil. Number 7 is the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat. This is where the laws were, the tablets were placed inside of. Was that the last one on that? So let's just give you like a visual of how it could have possibly looked. All right, let's go. Let's get back to this. Let's start with 20, and we're gonna go over that again.
Exodus chapter 35 and verse 20. Mm-hmm. And all the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses, mm-hmm. and they came, every one whose heart stirred him up, mm-hmm. and every one whom his spirit made willing. And they brought the Lord's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, mm-hmm. and for all his service, and for the holy garments.
So they brought all the gold, the silver, and all the things that it listed early on. All people were willingly bringing it. Read on.
Verse 22. And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted, mm-hmm. and brought bracelets and earrings and rings and tablets, all jewels of gold. Mm-hmm. And every man that offered an offering of gold unto the Lord. Mm-hmm. And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and red skins of ram and badger's skins brought them. Mm-hmm. Every one that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought the Lord's offering. And every man with whom was found shittim wood for any work of the service brought it.
Read on.
And all the women that were wise-hearted did spin with their hands.
Women that knew how to sew. Read on.
And brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple and of scarlet and of fine linen.
Read on.
And all the women whose hearts stirred them up in wisdom spun goat's hair.
Read on.
And the rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod, mm-hmm. and for the breastplate, mm-hmm. and spice and oil for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense.
Read on.
Verse 29. The children of Israel brought a willing offering unto the Lord, every man and woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all manner of work, which the Lord had commanded to be made by the hand of Moses.
Read.
And Moses said unto the children of Israel, See, the Lord have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, mm-hmm. the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah.
Read.
And he hath filled him with the Spirit of God, mm-hmm. in wisdom, and in understanding, and in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship.
So Bezalel was from the tribe of Judah, and he worked good with his hand. So the Most High put the Spirit on him to be gifted in what he did. Read on.
Verse 32. And to devise curious works, to work in gold, and in silver, and in brass,
Read.
And in the cutting of stones to set them, and in carving of wood, to make any manner of cunning work.
Right.
And,
read on.
Verse 34. And he hath put in his heart that he may teach both he and Aholiab, the son of Ahishamach, mm-hmm. of the tribe of Dan.
So we had two brothers who the Most High was dealing with when it came to workmanship, and they started training and teaching their fellow brethren about how to do it too. Read on.
Verse 35. Them have he filled with wisdom of heart to work all manner of work of the engraving and of the cunning workmen and of the embroidery, in blue and in purple and in scarlet and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work.
Read.
Chapter 36, verse 1. Then wrought Bezalel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whom the Lord put wisdom and understanding to know how to make all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary.
So they was over the cunning work of building, and they was leading their people or the men amongst them how to do how they was doing. Read on.
According to all that the Lord had commanded.
Mm-hmm.
And Moses called Bezalel and Aholiab and every wise-hearted man, in whose heart the Lord had put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred him up to come unto the work to do it. And they received of Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal, and they brought yet unto him free offerings every morning.
So let's go into like today, how the Most High put on the spirit for brothers and sisters that have different talents. They're putting their talent to use. They're teaching other people amongst the congregation. It's similar to how we was getting down back then. We was putting our talents together and building on that, showing each other how to do these other type of works. All right, read on.
Exodus chapter 36 and verse 4. And all the wise men that wrought all the works of the sanctuary came every man from his work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, the people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord commanded to make. And Moses gave.
So that show you how willing they were. It was too much. Read on.
And Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing.
So they had to stop bringing because it was bringing so much. Read on.
For the stuff that was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much.
They had too much. Read on.
Verse 8. And every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work. Excuse me. Of cunning work made he them. Verse 9.
So the cherubim is going to what you pull up the mercy seat again. Pull up the illustration. The one with the wings. All right. So zoom in. So on some of the curtains, they had cherubims that were embroidered or twined. It said, let's see. So every wise-hearted man among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet with cherubims. Cunning work made he them. Okay, so these were in the curtains. So they stitched, or it was embroidered in the curtains. Read on. Verse
9. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits. The curtains were all of one size.
So the length of a cubit is 18 inches. So you got 28. What's that? A cubit is 28 inches, 18 inches. So you got. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. What's that? 18. Read that verse again. In 28, 18, 28. So that's let me see.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, read it again.
Verse 9. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of one curtain 4 cubits.
So the length was 42 feet. Read on.
The curtains were all of one size.
And so the length was 42 feet, and the
breadth.
The breadth or the width was that
4 cubits.
4 cubits was that let me see, 32 inches. What's that? No, that's not right. And the breadth of one curtain, 4 cubits. So that's 18 times 4. That's 72 inches. Okay, read on.
Verse 10. And he coupled the 5 curtains one unto another. And the other 5 curtains,
So they connected them. Read on.
he coupled one unto another. And he made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the selvage in the coupling. Likewise, he made in the uttermost side of another curtain, in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made he in one curtain.
And to couple somebody is to connect it. So they're connecting it. Read on.
50 loops made he in one curtain, and 50 loops made he in the edge of the curtain, which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another, and he made 50 teches of gold and coupled the curtains one unto another with the teches. So it became one tabernacle.
All together. Read on.
Verse 14. And he made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains he made them. The length of one curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits was the breadth of one curtain. The 11 curtains were of one size. And he coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. And he made 50 loops upon the uttermost edge of the curtain in the coupling. And 50 loops made he upon the edge of the curtains which coupled the second. And he made 50 teches of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And he made a covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above that.
Read.
Verse 20. And he made boards for the tabernacles of shittim wood standing up. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth of a board was...
Let's pull that illustration back up again of the tabernacle. Okay. It don't list the boards, but you see it on here. Go to the other one. No, it wouldn't be on there. It wouldn't be on there. So this is a pretty much an illustration of what we're reading right now. So this is you see, zoom in. A little bit more. That's good. That's good. So this is pretty much an illustration of what we're reading now of the tabernacle. Okay, and these are the curtains that were together that would go all over the whole tabernacle. And so this is what we had in the wilderness. Okay, so anytime that we would move, they would have those men there who would carry as we was heading to the land of Canaan. So they would break everything down, and we would travel with, and wherever the Most High, when we followed the Most High, wherever we would stop, the Most High would stop. That's where we would set up again. So this is pretty much a illustration that Esau gave us that kind of, I guess, would be kind of resemblance of the tabernacle. I mean, not saying it's totally correct, but it's giving us some type of visual when we're reading this. Because sometimes when you read this, you're just reading. But this kind of gives you an illustration to kind of put some sense to what you're reading. Okay.
So right. Also, if you look at, can you scroll up a little bit? Can you scroll up a little bit? Right there is showing you the coverings that it's talking about in verse. Let's see, verse 19, it says, and he made a covering for the tent of ram skin. So if y'all can see it, I'm not sure if y'all can see it, but at the top it says ram skin, dyed in red. And then you continue to read, it says for the tent of ram skin, dyed red, and covers of badger skin above. So these are the materials that they use to make the covering of the tent for the tabernacle, all commanded by the Most High God to Moses.
Right.
You know, and then when it all comes together, it looks like that purple tent covering.
Right.
So they was fancy.
Right. And also, if you look at the bottom of it, where it says the bottom words, the bottom words where it says fine twisted linen, blue, purple, scarlet yarn, with cherubims embroidered by skilled craftsmen. So you can see how they you can't really see it, but that's how they would embroidered cherubims on the outside.
Right. Also, and that's also what we read about how you say it? Aholiab.
Yeah.
And you know they was in this craft Bezalel, their craftsmen. This is the stuff that they did, and then they taught their sons. So this can continue on generation after generation.
Right.
You know, every year you got to do the tabernacle, so they can continue this thing.
Right.
If they out in the wilderness, something might get messed up.
Right.
Maybe you got to fix it.
Right. You got to fix it. Right. Because they spent a lot of years out there.
Right.
So they had to continue to keep it going. Good point.
Right.
Well, where we left off at?
Verse 19, 20. Verse 21, I believe.
All right. Yeah. That's it.
Exodus chapter 36 and verse 21. The length of a board was 10 cubits, and the breadth
180 inches was the length of the board. Read on.
And the breadth of a board 1 cubit and a half.
So that's 27 inches. Read on.
And one board had two tenyons equally distant one from another. Thus did he make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And he made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south
side.
For the south side, southward. And 40 sockets of silver he made under the 20 boards. 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenyons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenyons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, he made 20 boards.
So this is just going to the framework of the tabernacle, what we just saw, to hold it up. Read on.
Verse 26. And there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, he made 6 boards.
Read.
And 2 boards made he for the corners of the tabernacle and the 2 sides.
Read.
And they were coupled beneath and coupled together at the head thereof to one ring. Thus he did to both of them in both the corners.
Read.
And there were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And he made bars of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward.
Read.
And he made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from the one end to the other. And he overlaid the boards with gold.
So he overlaid them with gold also. Read on.
And made their rings of gold to be placed for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold.
Read.
And he made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen with cherubims. Made he it of cunning work.
Like we just showed. Read on.
And he made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold. And he cast for them 4 sockets of silver.
Read.
And he made an hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, of needlework. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks, and he overlaid their chapiters and their fillets with gold, and their 5 sockets were of brass.
Read on.
Chapter 37, verse 1. And Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half.
7 inches was the length of it. Read on.
And a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it.
No, I'm sorry. 45 inches was the length, and a cubit and a half, which is 27 inches, was the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height. So that's another 27 inches was the height of it. Read on.
Verse 2. And he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about.
Read.
And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And he made staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staffs into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them, on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. How you say that? Cherub.
Cherub.
1 cherub on the end, on this side, and another cherub on the other end, on that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the 2 ends thereof. The cherubims spread out their wings on high, and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another. Even to the mercy seatward were the faces of their cherubims.
Okay, let's pull that up. Let's pull that cherubim up so they can get an idea of what we just read. You got it? It's just pull all of them up. Just pull one up. Okay, not that. Nope. All right. Go back one more time. Right there. Go down to the bottom. Okay. Zoom in on that. The Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat. Okay. Read that. Read that, officer.
Hold on, I got you. Okay, we're looking at, this is page 49. Again, the book is called, what's this, Biblical Charts, Maps, and Timelines. Rose Book of Biblical Charts, Maps, and Timelines. Page 49, we're down at the bottom left where it says 7, the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat. The central focus of the entire tabernacle was the most holy place where God spoke to the high priest above the mercy seat. The area where the wings cherubim faced each other. Annually, the high priest would sprinkle blood on the mercy seat to atone for the sins of all the people. God's purpose and desire is to dwell among his people and to commune with them. The layout of the tabernacle, along with the steps of sacrifice, cleansing, and remembering God's promises, are all designed to bring sinful mankind to a loving and holy God.
Okay, you ain't got to read about that. We won't hear about Christianity. But hey, go to the tabernacle, show where it was placed, the Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat. And go back again one more time. Says, like when it says the staves to bear it, those were when they build it to carry. So those are the staves that sticks out on 4 sides. So that's how they would carry it, and they would always carry that, and the priest would carry it. And the cherubims are on the top. Let's see, where we at?
We're at verse 9.
Let's go back and read it so they can get understanding. You have to start with verse 4.
Exodus chapter 37 and verse 4. And he made staffs of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold.
So there was wood overlaid with gold. Read on.
And he put the staffs into the rings by the side of the ark to bear the ark. And he made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. Verse 7. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece, made he them.
So those Bezalel put that work together. Read on.
On the 2 ends of the mercy seat. one cherub on the end and on this side, and another cherub on the other end on that side.
Read on.
Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubims on the two ends thereof. And the cherubims spread out their wings on high and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, with their faces one to another, even to the mercy seat seatward were the faces of the cherubims. Verse 10. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and the cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about.
Read on.
Also he made thereunto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof.
On the bottom, read on.
Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staffs to bear the table. And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table.
I'm sorry, jump back up to 10.
Verse 10. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof.
So the table is going into, pull the illustration up again. That's going into the table of the showbread. Go back, go up. Go to the next one. Okay, zoom in on that on the bottom right. All right, read that, officer. On the table. Yeah, 4.
Number 4. Okay. The table of showbread. On the table of showbread, Aaron and his sons placed 12 loaves of bread made from fine flour. These 12 loaves represented the 12 tribes of Israel. The table with the loaves was a continual reminder of the everlasting promises, the covenant between God and the children of Israel, and a memorial of God's provision of food. The bread was eaten by Aaron and his sons, and was replaced every week on the Sabbath.
Okay. Now let's go back to where it was at. Where it starts.
You want to go back down.
Go to 10 again. We read down.
Verse 10. And he made the table of shittim wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. Also he made thereunto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about.
Read on.
And he cast for it 4 wings of gold, and put the wings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border were the rings, the places for the staffs to bear the table.
For you to carry it. Read on.
And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes and his spoons, and his bowls and his covers, to cover withal of pure gold.
Read.
And he made the candlestick of pure gold.
The manure. Read on.
Of beaten work made he the candlestick, his shaft and his branch, his bowls and knobs, and his flowers were of the same. Verse 18. And 6 branches going out of the side thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knob and a flower, and throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. And in the candlesticks were 4 bowls made like almonds, and his knobs and his flowers, and a knob under 2 branches of the same, and a knob under the 2 branches of the same, and a knot under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knobs and their branches were of the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made his 7 lamps, and his snuffers, and his snuff dishes of pure gold.
Read.
Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof.
So a talent is like 80, almost 80 pounds. So it was maybe about 80 pounds or so. Okay. So let's go to the manure, the illustration of the manure. Just to give you an idea of what we just read. Zoom in on that. Not saying that this is exactly how it looked, but it's kind of give you an illustration on, give you an idea of what we just read. So now you can see what they talk about the flowers, the knops. Those were the designs of the manure. You have at the top where you would put the different oils in so they continue to burn at the top. At the top it says 7 almond-shaped lamp bowls for the olive oil. So that's where they put the oil in where it would continuously burn. It could not go out. Okay, we got the knops and the designs of the flower, the knops, and you can see it's 7 branches. Just to give you an idea of what we just read. All right, let's go back. Let's finish reading.
Exodus chapter 38 and verse 25. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it a cubit. It was 4 squares, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be placed for the staffs to bear it withal. And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary.
Someone who made medicines, or go to the other illustration so we can show the incense altar. Zoom in. Keep that illustration up. We're gonna read this so they can get a visual of it. Read that. Read it. Let's read it one more time. Verse 25, and just read down.
Exodus chapter 38, verse 25. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood. The length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it a cubit.
So first it was made with wood, and then they would frame it or overlay it with gold. Read on.
It was 4 square, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about.
Read on.
And he made 2 wings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be placed for the staffs to bear it withal. And he made the staffs of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold.
So the staff, once again, what you use to carry them with. Read on.
And he made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary.
Because he would put that together. Okay. So you want to read that illustration of it, and we'll end it on that. The altar of the incense. Right.
Okay, this is the altar of the incense. The Lord required the special incense be burned consistently on the altar of incense. It was a special sweet incense, a mixture of spices to be used only for the tabernacle. See Exodus 30, 35, Exodus chapter 30, verses 35 through 37. God specifically required this recipe. None other none other was to be burned on the altar. It was a matter of life and death.
So when it says that recipe, that's going into the hand of according to the work of the apothecary. Okay, read on.
As Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1 and 2 clearly shows us. When two of Aaron's sons offered a strange fire before the Lord and were struck dead in the New Testament, Luke chapter 1, verse 5 through 13, the priest Zacharias was in the holy place when an angel appeared near the table of incense. Zacharias fell down with fear. The angel announced that God had heard Zacharias' prayers and he and his wife would have a son, John the Baptist.
Okay, with that, we're going to end it. Any questions on what we just read today? Exodus chapter 34, verse through chapter 37. Got anything? Anything?
You see anything on there?
All right, and if no questions, we're going to say shalom. We're going to end it. All right, shalom. What's up?
Why was the sons killed? We have to rewatch. It says, why was the sons killed? Why was the sons killed?
Oh, go back. Let's read that. But that was out of here though. But you can, yeah. What was that? Yeah. Yeah. Leviticus 10 and 1, right? When we read down, it's going to explain itself.
So the question was, why was the two sons killed? All right, so this is Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censers and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord.
Read it from the top again.
Verse 1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censers and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord.
Read on.
Verse 3. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
And Moses called Mishael and Elsavan, the sons of Uzziah, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coats and out of the camp, as Moses had said. And Moses said unto Aaron and unto Eleazar, unto Ithamar, his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, and lest wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord hath kindled.
So go back to 1 again.
Verse 1. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censers, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not.
Okay, let's read. What's that? Exodus 30 and 9. No, that's not it. So Nadab and Abihu wasn't read that, took either of them his censer and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered strange fire, meaning they weren't the ones that were authorized to do that work. Read on.
Back in Leviticus?
Yeah, keep then we're gonna read down again.
Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 2. And there went out fire from the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said unto...
Because you couldn't just, you had to be appointed to do certain things, services, when it came into the tabernacle of doing these different things. You couldn't just take it upon yourself to do it. Read on.
Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan and the sons of Uzziah, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them in their coats out of the camp.
So that's basically what it's going into. They want the one authorized to be burned the incense. Any more questions? Well, these items today, they could be in the Vatican. We know that Esau could have his hands on it. I mean, they were the ones to conquer us. So it's been said that they're in the Vatican. Nobody really knows for sure, but that's what's been brought out before. They're in the Vatican or somewhere where all oppressors are keeping them. Any other question? All right, with that, we're going to say shalom. Most High Christ bless.
Shalom, Israel. Most High Christ bless.